talk a little bit about the first band that you put together? The first time you played with a band, the first time you played with, like going from playing a diddly bow to playing a guitar, or playing just the songs that you made up to playing with other people.
Well, I had a Robert Johnson experience on that. That's how I know I'm kin to him, because everything that he went through, I went through with him. And I give the man credit for having the ability to go home and what you call woodshed.
Yep.
But back in those days, in the early 20s, we didn't have no music schools. Nobody around was professional enough to teach you your own style, a new style of playing. And so that's what he did. He went home and woodshedded. He come up with his own style. And I did the same thing. I used to go out and try to play with other people. And they say he sounded like a chicken, you know. Pluck, 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 pluck. Really, that's where I got my style from, was the chickens. Y'all don't know, but the chicken play a big part in your life, whether you know it or not. A chicken is rhythmic, man. He's got rhythm. And I'm gonna tell you something else about that chicken. While everybody talking about steak, pork chop, and all this fancy foods and stuff, when it all boils down, it comes right back to that chicken. Because if it ain't for that chicken, somebody don't make it. There's always a chicken on the yard. And so I started my own style. Go out and play, they laugh at me and talk about me. I'm like Robert Johnson, I go home all embarrassed, I don't know whether I'm gonna go back and play or not. So every time I think I'm a little bit better, I go out and I get laughed at again. So I just got embarrassed. I'm not gonna do it no more. I went home and I started playing my own style. And I let my Uncle Big Jack hear it, he started laughing. I said, what you laughing at? He said, it sounds like Fred Sanford music. I said, what's Fred Sanford music sound? He said, junk. I said, Fred Sanford's a junk man. So I just stayed home and I created me a homemade overdubbing set. And I made my own music. I said, well, if it don't sound good to nobody, it sure sound good to me. I enjoyed playing my own music. I had, about 3 or 4 cassette tapes that I had recorded on. I had like about 3 or 4 albums worth of music on that cassette tape. And I was up at Rooster Records one day talking with Jim O'Neill. And he said, why don't you play with your Uncle Big Jack? I said, he laughs at me when I play. I said, he beat me up on stage too. So I said, I've been at home playing by myself. I brought him those cassettes, and he said, well, let me listen to it. He listened. I said, well, I got to go to dinner. He sat there and called listen. I went and got dinner and come back, and he was still listening. I said, well, he said, I think you ought to record it. I said, Jim, I know you don't drink. I said, but something wrong with you. I said, man, I don't know nothing about music. I don't know nothing about no band. I don't know nothing about no recording studio, nothing like it. He said, I tell you what. He said, if you'll agree to record this, he said, I'll furnish the band, I'll furnish the studio and everything you do. Just record this because this is different from anything I've ever heard. He said, I heard him say it one day to somebody, and he said, all the bass lines and all the riffs have been created. You can't play nothing that ain't already been played. I proved him wrong. I had like 36 songs, every one of them was different. I don't know if y'all know Johnny Rawls. Johnny Rawls and his partner back then. He got them to come down from up in Michigan to help me record that. And Johnny said he had never seen nothing like that before. I just saw Johnny this past October on the boat. He said, you still writing them crazy songs? I said, I don't do nothing else. Yeah. But they recorded that one called Blues Come Home to Roost, and it was one of the, they still say, out of about 10 albums now, they still say it's the best one I ever wrote. The one that I recorded on Rooster Records.
And what year was that?
I recorded it in 96, wrote it in 96, recorded it in, I wrote it in 94, recorded it in 96, it was released in 97, and in 1998 it won the Blues Award. Yeah. What was they calling it?
Was the Handy Awards?
W.C. Handy Award, that's what he won. Won W.C. Handy Award, I won about 3 or 4 awards, won 5 Living Blues Critic Awards, and I think it was going on. Down in Delta was the #1 song on there at the time. And so I went from there. And after I got the record out and everything, then I started playing with my Uncle Big Jon. He had a club here called the Black Fox. Him, Frank Frost, Sam Carr, Ernest Roy, David Porter, Robert Walker, you name them. There was a whole bunch of people who come down every Saturday night and play.
Yeah.
And so I wound up being the bass player for the Jelly Roll Kings for a while. And it went along pretty good though. One day I was up playing. He don't like me to tell this story. I was playing that bass line exactly like he showed me to play it. And he was playing it. He made a mistake on his guitar. He turned around and looked at me, you know that ain't right. I said, okay, do it again. So I played the same bass. He made the mistake again. He goes, let me swing with me. He put his guitar down and come on, got around behind me and showed me how to play that bass. Let me do it like that. So I get back on the bass. I played it exactly the same way this third time, the same way that I did the first time. He got his part right this time. He turned around and looked and said, nah, that's how it goes. He said, nah, that's how it goes. But he wasn't taking no blame for no mistakes. So him and I played together for a while, and people asked me later on, so why don't you and Big Jack play together? I said, it's like 2 big heaters in one small room. Too much heat. But love the man to death, though, and he was my inspiration.
Yeah.
Because I used to sit and watch him play, and he could really play.
Yeah.
He could play, man. He said my fingers are so swift, and he said I have to walk like a sissy sometimes to let him catch it. He was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
When do you, was there a time that you realized that there's something special about Clarksdale, Mississippi, and about being in Mississippi? I know you talked about you've been to different places all over the world, and you love home.
Yeah.
Was there a point that you realized that there was something special about Mississippi and about Clarksdale, about the Delta?
Yeah. They don't call it the home of the blues because of the music. If you don't know where to step, when to step, or how to step, you got the blues, baby, in Mississippi. There's something special about Mississippi. I mean, it's got a vibe. I mean, you can feel it when you come here. Even I feel it when I come home. I say, oh, I'm back in the blues world now. But it's something about it, you know, it's I don't know. I guess it's got blues fertilizer.
Yeah.
But it got so many S's in it, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
All of them crooks and turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. People used to spell it I humpback, humpback, I humpback, humpback. I got the pee-pee eye.
That's, I gotta remember that one. That's a good one.
Oh yeah, you know, they be out in the field, you know. They say, I gotta go to the bathroom, so you better put a hump in your back and feel that sack, you know. So they call it M.I. humpback, humpback, humpback. They go like picking cotton, M.I. humpback, humpback.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end he says, I got the pee-pee. And they look and say, boss man down there, you can't go nowhere. You got to stay here till the boss man leave. So they learn how to pee in the cotton field while they go work. Well, Mississippi got a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of history.
Can you tell us about when you write songs? What comes first? Is it the lyrics, the words? Is it the music, the guitar, the riff? You build it off a riff, or is it do you come up with an idea that you want your song to be about? Or?
Most of the time, it's the words or an idea or something somebody say will inspire you. Hey, that could be a blues song. I say a lot of things. Somebody, hey, people, I've been having a conversation like what you say. Hey, that could be a blues song. And I jot that little stuff down, and sometimes I make a blues song out of it. But sometimes you can hear somebody else's music, and if you get far enough away from it, you won't hear it exactly like it is, but you'll hear something different than what he's playing. That's how I write songs off my own music. I'll put one of my records on, I get far enough away from it that I can't really recognize which song it is, but I can hear a beat, I can hear a groove. And to be part of it left out, and be part of it in there. And that can create something different from that. Different groove and a different beat.
Yeah. And do you write it? Do you go and write it down, or does it stick in your head and then you pick up the guitar?
It's sticking in your head for a little while.
Yep.
But you better go write it down. Be back and say, who do you listen to? I don't listen to nobody. I listen to me. Because sometimes you hear a song that gets stuck in your head, you hum that song for 2 or 3 days. Yeah, that tune be stuck in your head. And you can't write a song with another one stuck in your head. So I don't listen to other people's music. I don't listen to mine either no more. I get tired of hearing it. So, but anyway, I write songs that way. And I tell you, I had an experience one day. I had me a dilly bow on the side of a barn. And it was across the road from the house. And I would go out there every day and play that dilly bow. And I noticed this guy used to drive by and slow looking at me. And it was the boss man. So he stopped by one day and I thought I was in trouble. I was thinking to run. He said, oh, wait a minute, don't run. He said, I want to see what you're doing there. And I used to get in trouble with it on the house. That's why I was on the barn.
Right.
You know, in that old shotgun house, that thing would echo through the house. And Mom on the inside the house, and we had bottlenecks, tin cans, extract flavor bottles, and the best light of all was that snuff bottle. So them big glass snuff bottles, they had 2 notches, 3 notches, 4 notches on the bottom of them. And every time I want to play that dilly bow, look like I get caught with that snuff bottle. And you don't know, hear no Mississippi woman go up by her snuff bottle. It might sound like a bunch of babbling to y'all, but I understood every word of it. But anyway, this man come by one day, and he told me, he said, boy, he liked that dilly bow, you know, playing. But I thought it was the barn itself he was talking about, because Mama raised so much cane about the house. So I put that thing on that barn, and old ball man like, I said, you like that? I said, Grandmama don't like it. She said, too many noise, man, beating upside my house, sounded like an old African out there beating on the wall. So he said he liked that, and he come by one day. Like I told you, education was scarce where we come from. Anything over 4 letters is either a sickness or a curse word. Him and his friend come by one day. The first time I saw a hunting suit or a cane knife. They had cane knives on their side, big old knife. He stood there listening to me. And he propped his hand on that knife and he looked at me and said, boy, he said, you got blues fever. He said, me and my friend was talking the other night. He said, we decided we're going to do an autobiography on you. Man, I let out running. I know what that was. I ran home and told Mama, the man over there got a big old knife. He's going to do autobiography on me. Mama didn't know what it was. She said, what about shotgun? Ain't nobody doing no autobiography on my baby. Every time somebody got autobiography walking around here, they die. And she come out there and cuss the balls out to him. She said, no, ma'am, that ain't what it is. And he explained to her what it was and everything. And then the next day he come by, he told me, he said, you know, boy, I could take you in that thing in New York. He said, we'd be rich in 3 months' time. Rich? I said, what's that? He said, a lot of money. I said, let me go tell Mama. Go in there and told Mama, the man said he'd take me in that dilly bow to New York and we'd be rich in about 3-4 months. That man got making a fool out of you, boy. You can't get that damn bun to Washington. She thought I had to take the whole bar. Thank you, sir.